Hello again. This is the starting point of pattern number 7. In this pattern, we will see that the components of the sentence which belongs to pattern number 7 are the following. SVOA. We said earlier that the S stands for the subject, the V stands for the verb, the O stands for the object, the A here stands for the adverbial. So this means that we have 4 components within this pattern. And again, within this pattern, the verb is going to be one of the transitive verb. Why is that? Because it is followed here by the direct object. Earlier we have seen that there are certain patterns in which we see adverbials, right? And some of the adverbials, and in most of the patterns, that the adverbials given within the sentence that belongs, for example, to pattern number 1. If you remember well, pattern number 1, we've seen that pattern number 1 consists of SV, the subject plus the verb. Within this pattern, we might see certain adverbial. The same as you remember the example, which is the sportsmen were fishing in the stream. So I might say the sportsmen were fishing, and that's all. If I add in the stream or when we drove up, so it's okay. The adverbial here is not obligatory. Rather, it is optional. Okay, within pattern number 1. But on the other hand, again, we've seen a group of verbs like live, remember it, sneak, lurk. What's wrong with this little verbs? They are related, of course, to pattern number 1, SV, subject plus verb. But these verbs must be followed by the adverbial. So if I say they live and I stop talking, they live where? They live when and they live how? So in this case, the verb here, which is given in pattern number 1, it is the intransitive verb. There is no need to add a direct object to complete the meaning of the sentence. And within this pattern, I see that there is a very small group of verbs that belong to this pattern, yet still they must be followed by adverbial, within one verb, adverb, or a prepositional phrase to complete the meaning of the sentence. So in relation to this small group of verbs like live, they must be followed by adverbial. So the adverbial in the sentence like he lived in the 19th century. So in the 19th century here is considered as a prepositional phrase functioning as adverbial. The adverbial in this sentence is considered as a must, obligatory. But the example, which is the sportsmen were fishing in the stream. In the stream is the adverbial, functioning as adverbial, yet still it is optional. Okay, so this indicates for certain patterns the adverbials might be optional. So whether I mention them or I delete them, so the meaning of the sentence will not be incomplete. It will be completed as well as meaningful. But once I add the adverbial, the optional adverbial, there will be some sort of clarification with reference, for example, to time, with reference to place, with reference to manner, frequency, etc. Okay? But the type of the adverbial in pattern number 6 is that it is obligatory. What does it mean? It means it is something that is not optional. It is a must as such. Okay? This is as far as pattern number 7 is concerned. Let's take an example which is mentioned at the beginning of the pattern on page 241, in which we see Mr. Johnson set the cup on the table. So suppose that I have this sentence, okay? So let's now omit on the table, and we will say the sentence without on the table, the adverbial here. We will see Mr. Johnson set the cup. So set the cup where? Whenever I say set the cup, put the cup, so he or she put the cup where? There is something that is missing, right? There is something here leaving the adverbial out, that's to say omitting the adverbial makes the sentence sound ungrammatical. Why? Because I feel that there is something missing. The meaning of the sentence will not be completed by the subject plus the verb plus the direct object. So I am in need of what? An adverbial to complete the meaning of the sentence, to make the sentence sound grammatical. Okay? This is one. So, Mr. Johnson is the subject of the sentence. Set is the verb. Which type of verb? It is the transitive verb. The cup. So they set what? The cup. The cup direct object. Where? On the table. So on the table is considered as the adverbial in pattern number what? In pattern number 7. Okay. So the matter whether I use an obligatory or optional adverbial depends upon what? To decide that this sentence must have an adverbial, or this sentence might, so a sense of possibility, might have an adverbial, depends upon what? That's to say, the determination of whether an adverbial is required or not depends on the type of the verb itself. Okay? On the type of the verb itself. So a verb like set is the transitive verb that is in need of what? Of an adverbial to complete the meaning of the sentence. Because if I'm going to omit on the table, the sentence will be ungrammatical. Okay? This is one. Because I feel that there is something missing. Sometimes I have an adverbial within the sentence, and if I'm going to omit or to keep it outside, the meaning of the sentence will be changed. So this indicates what? That leaving the adverbial out either makes the sentence ungrammatical because there is something missing, the same as I say Mr. Johnson said the cup, there's something missing, the sentence is incomplete, or this is number one, or the meaning will be what? The meaning will be changed. How is that? Let's take an example which is given here. We kept the smelly dog outside. We kept the smelly dog outside. So, if we remove the adverbial outside from this sentence, so we will get what? We will get something that is, as far as the meaning of the sentence is concerned, what is it? The meaning will be changed. The same as we say, we kept this smelly dog. So we kept this the smelly dog without outside means as if we don't want to sell it. We put it at home, okay? But if we add the adverbial that is outside. This means what? That the meaning of the verb in this sentence containing the adverbial outside relates to how we maintain the dog. Okay, so you see now, keeping the smelly dog has a meaning, and keeping this smelly dog outside has another meaning. So the presence or the omission of the must adverbial either changes the meaning of the sentence, like she kept the smelly dog, she kept the smelly dog outside, or there will be something missing. As such, the sentence will be ungrammatical, the same as I say, Mr. Jensen set the cup. So this is the effect of omitting or leaving outside the adverbial in a pattern, just like pattern number 7. So you see now that the use here, the selection of the verb within a sentence is very important. If it is a verb here that is capable of giving the grammatical sense of the sentence with its object, so it's okay. Let's just say the meaning of the sentence will be completed by the subject, verb, direct object. This means again that there will be no need to mention the adverbial. Whether I mention it or not, this means what? That the sentence will be grammatical. This is as far as pattern number 4 is concerned. Why? Because we have subject, verb, direct object. But in pattern number 7, and in relation to certain verbs, transitive verbs, we have what? The adverbial to be a must. Why must? Because if I'm going to omit it or leaving the adverbial outside, I will get two results. The meaning will be change of the sentence, and the sentence will be ungrammatical because the meaning will be incompleted. So either I will see incomplete meaning or changing meaning once I leave the adverbial outside, and once this adverbial is obligatory, not optional. This is a relation to pattern number 7. Pay attention please to the exercises which are related to pattern number 7, because you will see different sentences related to different patterns. And by the way, on page 242, 243 and 244, 245, we have other sentence types. You see that within this 7 patterns, we don't end the patterns. Okay, this means that there are other types of the sentences that belong in some way to the 7 patterns, or they are not. So we will stop within this pattern. Within this pattern, we will stop at these 7 patterns. That is to say, we will leave the item which is under the title other sentence types in order not to make you confused, in order not to mix things, because they are filled with so many things. So your own job is to pay attention and concentrate upon these 7 sentence patterns. This is number 1. Number 2, you know that your preparation is not just these 2 patterns. It is okay again with 3 modes of classification, right? The classification by function, the classification by form, and the classification by position. Earlier, we have tackled what is meant by function. We said that we have subject of the verb, direct object, indirect object, subjective complement, objective complement, and so on and so forth. So now we are familiar with such functions. Again, we have seen that words in English can be classified in terms of form into nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, as well as uninflected words, right? So now we are familiar with the classification by form. But till now, we haven't come across what is meant by position, right? So I will postpone, not delete. I will postpone the 3 modes of classification until we finish chapter 16, which is parts of speech, positional classes. So what I want you to do is that to focus your attention upon chapter 16. We will see that there are 4 positional classes. They are nominal, verbal, adjectival, and adverbial. So our own job is to know what is meant by nominal, what is meant by adverbial, what is meant by verbal, as well as adjectival. If we, inshallah, finish positional classes, these 4 positional classes, we will back again to the 3 modes of classification. That is to say, we will have a separate lecture for these 3 modes of classification. Why is that? Because we are going to take certain sentences and we are going to classify each word within this sentence according to form, according to function, as well as position. So in order to master what is meant by the 3 modes of classification, we are in need of what? Understanding what is meant by positional classes. Okay? This is my own aim, that after finishing chapter 16, we will back again to the 3 modes of classification at the end of chapter 15. Thank you so much for listening, and see you.